It's a toy. It makes you happy. And believe me, that's worth more than any jewel. G'day, welcome to the Nerdy Dad channel and my review and discussion of the second episode of The Bad Batch Season 2, Ruins of War. Ruins of War aired back to back with Spoils of War, and it was directed by Nathaniel Villanueva and Brad Rau. Look, Omega didn't have what you'd call a normal or healthy childhood. None of the clones did. They were ostensibly created to fight separatists, and none of them experienced a time before the galaxy was split in two. Despite being a dangerous game of cat and mouse with the Empire, both Tech and Omega learn a lot in this episode. And the relationship between Echo and Omega is also fleshed out. As I said in my review of Spoils of War, overall I had a good time with both the first two episodes of Season 2. Now, to keep talking about the episode, I'm going to have to shift into spoiler territory. So in case it wasn't clear, spoilers for the episode ahead. Speaking of spoilers, let's start at the end. How good was Rampant's reintroduction for this season? I enjoyed these two episodes, but that final scene with Rampant was just perfection. We're reminded of the ruthlessness and backstabbing of those who rise through the ranks of the Empire. And also the fear. The fear that their failures will be uncovered, and then they in turn will be stabbed in the back as part of the Empire. Rampant is cruel and ruthless, and he will do anything to prevent his failure coming to light. And given that his failure is the survival of Clone Force 99, he is the perfect villain for this series. In many ways, that shot is what really kicks off the rest of the season. R.I.P. Captain Wilco. Jumping back to the start of the episode, at the end of Spoils of War, we were left with Echo, Tech, and Omega falling back to Earth in a shipping container. Rockets controlled the descent enough that they weren't about to be flattened, but they have no control over where they're going to land, and apparently no control over how rough the landing's going to be. On that note, I can't be the only one who saw this.
Go, go, go!
And instantly thought about this. But nobody died this time. Tech was injured though, so that leaves the group vulnerable to any search party that the Imperials might choose to send out. They end up hiding out with Romar, a native of Serrano who's been in hiding since the Imperial occupation. Omega has become obsessed with the mission and recovering treasure for the Batch. Meanwhile, Romar highlights the tragedy of her upbringing when, despite the fact she's got Wrecker's Tuka doll and the fact that she's a child, she fails to see the value of a toy when she's given a kaleidoscope, or whatever the Star Wars equivalent to a kaleidoscope is. And Tech, who always seems to have an answer for everything, hadn't considered the possibility of Serrano having a history or a culture prior to the Separatist movement. Although, to be fair to him, once he does receive this new information, he assimilates it quickly. And he helps Romar fix the data core, which contains historical information about Serrano.
Your data has been restored.
You did it. You actually did it.
Well, of course I did.
In the ruins of Turania, Hunter and Wrecker are playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse with the Imperials. Character-wise, there's not much to sink my teeth into with this part, but we get some cool action sequences, and I do agree with Wrecker when he says that he makes a pretty good tank. Boom!
Boom! I'll make a pretty good tank. Incoming!
With Tech focused on the data core, he didn't notice Omega leaving to go back to the container to recover the treasure. They only found her missing when Echo returned from reconnaissance. Things really go south when the Imperials find Echo at the container. That's when we get this Indiana Jones tribute.
Hurry! This whole bench is gonna go.
I can get it back. I have to.
Don't! Omega, forget about the war chest. It's not important.
Tech and Romar pull their backsides out of the fire, and then Hunter picks them up in the Marauder. and then we find out why Omega was so obsessed with the treasure.
I wanted to make things better for us. I know you all gave up everything because of me.
Good thing we did, or we might be fighting for the Empire right now. Or worse. We made the right choice, Omega. I'd do it all again.
These two episodes show us a lot of Echo's character, and the more I see, the more I like. Look, there's a lot more Bad Batch reviews on the way, so why don't you give this video a like, and if you haven't already, you can subscribe to the channel here. This is the Nerdy Dad, signing off.